So we can welcome Bobby Williams up here. You can take the stage or wherever you want.
Don't mind if you want me in the front or around behind.
Wherever you're comfortable, sir.
Wherever I'm comfortable.
Get up on stage. You can
Good.
be the tallest guy in the room.
Make me feel like
And we'll take questions at the end. We'll let Bobby speak and then we'll take questions at the end.
Okay,
Thank
hold
you,
on
guys.
1 second. You're very tall.
You take my boots off. Can y'all go barefoot in Pasco County?
I don't know.
We do in Polk County. It's not about Pasco County.
She's much more tech savvy than me. Oh, okay. I just have her back right.
Do I got to stand still to stay with the circle?
No. You got sheep. She's much more That's done in the Welcome, Bob.
Good? Awesome. Thank y'all for having me. It's a privilege and honor to come here and speak to y'all. No matter where I travel across the state, I've been zigzag across state, Panhandle, Tallahassee, all the way through. I was in Mar-a-Lago the other night, just different things across the state. The message is the same. My message is the same, and the message from y'all are the same. People are tired of corruption. They're tired of politics. They're tired of the nonsense. They're tired of developers destroying Florida. They're tired of our electric bills going up. They're tired of our water bills going up. They're tired of polluting our waters. We're just tired. And the biggest thing is, not only are we tired, we don't have a voice. The taxpayer, the citizens, you don't have a voice. I was talking to the young lady here, and she was the same thing, but her voice resonates everywhere I go, and she's not the only one. It's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people are tired of. Who do we complain to? Who do we go talk to? Who do we say? It don't matter who we talk to, we complain to, nothing ever happens. And at the end of the day, because the problem with our nation, the problem with our state, is we always vote between the least of what? Two evils. So 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I say 2 years ago, time flies, I've been running this campaign since a year now, since February last year. 3 years ago, the Lord comes to me and says, hey, I need you to run for governor. And I laughed at him. Because I don't like politics, I don't like politicians, and I don't like everything that goes along with that. So it took him 2 years to convince me. So what I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to tell a little bit about myself, and I'm going to then, through me talking, I'm going to hopefully answer some of your questions, but then you obviously have questions and answers at the end. Because as I travel the state, my message across the state is not only a biblical message, it's a life message, it's a political message, it's Matthew 7:16. Because you'll know them by their fruit. We don't hire people at jobs without doing a background check. You don't just hire people without looking into them. How many times has somebody been referred to you, hey, you need to hire them, a good person. You need to do this, they're a good person, and what ends up happening? They ain't who the person said they are. How many of y'all dated somebody or even married somebody?
How many times?
Without looking at their fruit. That's the reason why Jesus tells us thing. I call the Bible, our owner's manual, right? How many of us men put stuff together without reading the owner's manual? We always end up with extra parts. Don't always work properly, right? Because we don't read the owner's manual. So when you understand the Bible, it's simple. I know it's a great book, but it's true. It's just your owner's manual. If you read it, it helps you with your moral compass. It helps where we need to be as a nation. Our Constitution, Foundation Fathers, is Christianity. It's based on the Word of God. That's the reason why our country's been successful for 250 years. But we're slowly getting away from that because me and you, men and women, and I'm just as guilty as the rest of them, is I'm just going to live the American dream. I'm just going to raise my family, and I'll get back to that. But just build a business, build some wealth, create wealth, and go on vacation, do all this kind of stuff. But what I figured for me, so I was 32 years a heathen. Drank beer, chased women, done all that stupid stuff, because I didn't have an owner's manual. My mom had my brother when she was 14, had me when she was 17. She ended up marrying my dad, who was very, very impoverished. My dad actually made $2.38 when I was born. And so you can figure out where we come from, that kind of stuff. But I had that American dream in me. But what happened was, at 25, I started a business. At 25, I got married. At 26, I had a little girl. The American dream. But by the time I was 30, 32, I was still empty. I was void. I wasn't happy. I wasn't satisfied. Never could make enough money. Never was enough. There's never enough. And that kind of stuff. And we see that today. Well, at 32, I had an encounter with Jesus. Radically changed my life on a hunting trip. I come back to from a Hunt Trip, Missouri. I would come back to Polk County, Winter Haven, Florida. I'm a third generation Floridian here in Florida. I love Florida, but I come back to Florida and I done what every Christian should do, start going to church. But what I learned in church was the same thing I learned in the world, what not to do. Politics and religion ain't no different. You'll fill a room, you'll raise money, we'll talk about issues and problems, but nothing never gets done. Nobody's never held accountable. There's no accountability. There's nothing, they don't do nothing. Everybody talks about problems, we talk about issues, and we get mad at each other, we yell, we fight, we curse, and we get frustrated and aggravated, stressed out, anxiety, but nothing ever happens because nobody ever does anything. So in 2016, I took it on my own. I said, you know what? I'm going to take what I got. I got my own money. I created some wealth, created this kind of stuff. I started feeding 5 to 10 homeless people under a carport. We started going to the projects, the worst, the broken, the prostitution, all these bad places, and we started seeing lives change. And by the time a year come, we were feeding 100 people. We were like, man, this is it. We've got it figured out. Because really, that was the standard of what you see most ministries do. So it just played along. In 2018, the Lord told me I want you to pastor a church. And I'm like, no. Because just like being a politician, I don't want to be a pastor because what we see and what we hear, the example's the wrong example. So when people call me a politician, no, I'm not. I don't want to be one. People try to call me a pastor. No, I don't want to be one. I'm just a child of God. It's that simple. Don't put me in a picture and put me in a box and call me a name because then your expectations of me is a certain thing. The reason why I don't want to be a politician. So obviously 2020 comes around. We call that the year of COVID. And I call it the opening weekend of COVID. Well, the difference is when I talk about fruit of people, especially when you know the grapefruit of people is when pressure comes. How do you know a grape's a grape? How do you know an orange is an orange? When it busts open, it cuts open, you see what it is. So what happened during COVID, I didn't social distance, I didn't mask, I didn't shut down, I didn't take the shot, I did nothing. I was willing. I said, Paul went to jail, Peter went to jail, Jesus went to jail, I was going to jail. You know what happens? Let's get the jail safe. So I'm a believer that God's always good. He'll put me where he needs to be, and there he's going to move, he's going to do what needs to be done. So that was my mentality. So opening day of COVID, I call it the weekend, Saturday, everything shut down. I told my church, I said, here's what's going to happen. We're not going to shut down, we're not going to do this, but we will do church differently this Sunday. We're going to go out in the parking lot, we're going to feed people. We fed 1,500 people that day. And it continues to grow to where we're feeding 1,500 people from then on. So from COVID to now, this poor boy from Polk County who built a little bit of wealth, not great wealth, but a little bit, now we moved over 100 million pounds of product. If you had to buy that 350 million gift in kind. We give it away. We don't do fundraisers, we don't raise money, I've never done none of that. It's all, even at my church, I don't even pass the bucket. I teach people about giving, I'm an example about giving, I teach you the blessings upon that, but at the end of the day, it's upon you. We never want to pass the bucket, I never ask for money. I do outreaches all the time. We give away $20,000, $40,000, $50,000 in product for free, just so we can bless people and show them what Christianity is like. Because whether it's a politician or a Christian, all we see is hypocrisy. You know, we think of a politician, what are they going to do? They're going to lie to me, tell me what I want to hear. Then when they get in there, they're going to do differently. That's the definition of a politician, ain't it? It's the reason why I don't want to be one. It's the reason why we got to look at these guys' fruit. They'll tell you all kinds of stuff. They'll sell you a good game. But a lot of the stuff they tell you, they can't even do. But you love it, you grab a hold of it, you're all this kind of stuff. But when you can't do it, then what good is it? But we live in a generation today that people are looking for that. They're looking for the next big thing, the next this, and they're looking for that new excitement. They're not really looking at the fruit of these people. So it's so important to look at the fruit of these people. Because I laugh at people all the time. They send me a text or they social message me or on social media they shoot, oh, he's in it for the money. He's going to line his pockets. I've given away more money than most people make in their lives. Because it's not important to me. Important to me, I can tell you the $100 million, 100 million pounds. I can tell you the 350 million gift account. The most important to me is probably the tens of thousands I've seen lives change as I zigzag across the state. As I zigzag with the freedom tour, my ministry called. We started 2016. As I do hurricanes and disasters, all this stuff from COVID to hurricanes, we show up. And I show up, a lot of people don't know me because I don't show up where the cameras are. I don't need cameras, I don't need attention. I need to help people, I need to be a blessing. So Hurricane Michael come down to Panhandle. We were there 3 days after the storm. Number one, because they wouldn't let us in until then. And we pulled in with generators and stuff. We heard the veterans. I'm not a DEI guy. I don't believe in diversity and that kind of stuff. Only thing I'm diversified in my life, in my campaign, is veterans. I truly believe veterans need first. They need first at anything and everything. They fought for our nation. They fight for our rights. They put in stuff that most people won't put in. I didn't want to sign up for that kind of stuff. Well, I didn't want to go fight. Wow. The reality, I was a lost kid, and I want to live for myself. Live that American dream. So if anything, veterans should be first. We showed at Panhandle, helped them with a motorcycle. They were a motorcycle club. They were all veterans, and we helped them guys. It was so cool when you showed up to these little bitty municipalities and little bitty neighborhoods. It was always the military guy was the one helping everybody else. And God sent me there, and we would bring him a generator, we'd bring him food. He was already at the camp, so it was just so cool. And so cool about it was I gave me 10 generators to take, and we had 10 soldiers there that needed 10 generators. So it's just so cool to watch God work. But we stayed there. Then we ended up going down to Mexico Beach for 5 months. We stayed in Mexico Beach, keep continuing, put a tent on Mexico Beach, and we kept continuing to send them products. So that's the fruit of who I am. That's my character. It's not about money for me. So when God told me to run, I'm like, Lord, why me? And he answered, why not you? It took him 2 years to convince me. Because why do I want to get involved in politics? I love what I do. I truly do. I love Freedom for. I'm seeing lives change. I got a group of people with me there. You bring a team with you everywhere I go. It ain't because I'm paying them. It ain't because it's governor. It's because I'm impacting their lives. And they watch me impact other people's lives. They want to be a part. So, because the biggest issue we have is the least of two evils. So if godly men and women don't run for these people, for these seats, who runs?
Right.
How much evil is too much evil? To me, 1% is too much. Much less 40%, 50%, or even 100%. But if me and you don't get involved, who gets involved? It's evil. Then what happens is we're in a situation we are today is because we got away from the owner's manual. We got away from biblical principles. We got away from looking at what is their fruit. What do they truly produce? What are they producing? Because I can guarantee, especially running for governor, if they ain't produce it now, they dang sure are going to produce the most powerful seats in the state. We see the manipulation, we see the issues, we see the county commissioners, we see the city commissioners. They're all bought by developers. The reason why you need to look at the Golden Basin, number one. So I get the question all the time, you don't raise a lot of money, these other guys are raising money. I said, that's just scary. That should scare the heck out of you. I won't use the other word. Because that's showing you these seats ain't being voted in, they're being bought in. Yeah. That should truly scare you. And that's truly what's happening. So for one thing I want to do when I become governor, I want to get rid of PACs. I want to get rid of PACs. I even want to get rid of entities. Because what happens now, me as a state race contender, I can raise $3,000 per entity. He can own 10 businesses. So he could write me $30,000. Then he can write a personal. So that's $33,000 I can get from him. And that's what these developers have, and that's what they do. So to me, I want it to be a level playing field. Because now I see the only thing I got endorsing me is the greatest thing ever is God Almighty. And that's the greatest thing I can have. But what happens is, and I know that, and I know he can open doors and do the miracles, I've seen it, so I don't worry about that. But for the next guy coming, and the more people, we need a level playing field. These guys should do what I have to do. Travel across the state, travel in rooms, in small pockets. I go places no other place people will go. We'll be in Union County, Lake Butler this Saturday. I was coming to y'all's gun club, but y'all keep changing the date. And I already had it pre-booked where I was coming. But no, I go to these places. I go to small rooms. I go to wherever people ask me to go. Every day I'm almost getting a phone call. People ask me to go, and I go. Because I want people to see me. I want people to look me in the eye. I want people to hear me. I want to have that purple one. I want you to know that you have a voice. That you can come to me. People call I had a guy call my office the other day. And literally he calls the office and I pick it up. And my cell phone, I do it all the time. Bobby speaking. He's like, huh? What? Who? He said, Bobby Williams? He said, I expected the call, but I expected a voicemail. I expected somebody else to call. I never expected you to call. No, sir. If I'm here in this office, I answer the phone. I want you to know you should talk to me. Because I hate emails and texts. Because they'll send me a questionnaire about that long with 20 different questions. And it takes me an hour just to go through it. And I'm like, just call me on the phone and just tell me and I can answer it real quick and easy. But I'm against PACs. I'm against foreign influence. He asked me the question earlier. I'm not America first. And everybody's like, twist that. I'm America only.
Oh, there you go.
Too long we spent money overseas. Too long we've taken our taxpayers' money. We've wasted in fraud. And to me, we all know it's nothing but a money laundering scheme. Ukraine, here's my answer with Ukraine. So since I'm a kid, some of y'all are not as old as me. So I'm 48. But since I was a kid, Our number one, oh my goodness, you can't, the Cold War, you can't, don't mess with Russia. There's, it's always been the scare, the fear of our whole lives of messing with Russia, right? We've always been number one, Russia number two. We're right there, nuke wars, do this kind of stuff. So to me, if we're number one, I know China's there, but you take Russia, say they're number two, Ukraine will be down here in the 200s or 300s, right? It's like us going to war against Mexico. How long would that war last? Maybe a day or two? Maybe a couple weeks? We were in Baghdad in a week. On ground, through tanks, in Baghdad, 1 week. And they didn't use full force on there. They just used more ground than did air. 1 week. So you're telling me Russia can't defeat Ukraine in 1 week? Come on. I was born last night. It was that night. It was that. That old thing. But it's money laundering. That's all it is. You see it. And the sad thing is, it's so bad today, and it's so sad. Every one of us knows it. Every one of us sees it. Every one of us can put every dime and every piece, and you can put the puzzle together. And they're talking to this young lady. And some people do that, but what good does it do us? Because we have no voice. We have nobody to go to. There's nobody that's good that's fighting this evil. And it's sad, but it's true. The nation we live in today, the state we live in today, and that's where we're at. So I'm against all that corruption. I'm against foreign influence. I'm against all that kind of stuff. People have to take APAC money. I can't even get other people's money, much less APAC money. But I wouldn't take that kind of money because I've learned the Bible says stay away from any kind of evil. So if a developer wants to give me money, I'm like, no, I don't care how big that check is. Because it ties me in with them, then people all look at him. As a pastor and as a community leader, people always argue the drinking deal. Jesus turned water into wine and all this kind of stuff. I said, the problem with it is this. If I'm sitting in Outback, and maybe I'm only drinking one beer and I have that in front of me, when you walk in, you see that one beer. You don't know if it's one beer, you don't know if it's 10 beers, you don't know if it's 20 beers. And somebody's always trying to find something wrong with you because they want you to bring you down to their level. So I don't touch it. I don't deal with it. Why? Because I want to stay away from any kind of evil. So I don't even mess with that. So I'm against any kind of foreign corruption, any kind of foreign influence. I'm against tax. Number one, my message going across Florida has been this way for a year. Florida's full. Enough's enough.
Yeah.
I get asked about the Everglades, and I use the Everglades. The Everglades is the perfect example. I'm for restoring the Everglades because we got to restore our water. But the problem is, how did we get there? Developers, politicians, and big corporations have destroyed our Everglades. And they made hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, destroying it, right? Now, last year's budget was $5 billion on top of the other billions we do to restore the Everglades. Who's paying for that? Who's making the money off of it? They do contracts all the time. I'm for getting rid of illegal immigration. I think especially if you come here the last 10 years, 15 years, you need to go back. And everybody's all alligator Alcatraz. The problem with alligator Alcatraz is $670 million. How's it 1 year it cost you $670 million to do illegal? What's the problem with that? You could probably do that for $4 or $5 million and still make good money. But $670 million under some tents with some generators, with some people sleeping in cots with tents around them. I do hurricanes all the time. We do it on a couple $100. How are we doing $670 million? The corruption is so bad that they take things like illegal immigration. And the problem is we think it's red and it's blue, and the red blames the blue, and the blue blames the red, and we blame them. But the problem right now in Florida is back to fruit. We have a super majority of red in Tallahassee. Has that benefited me and you? Yeah. So the problem is, who are you fighting for? Who are they fighting for? We don't even have a voice. We talk about affordability. Our electric bill keeps going up. The governor appoints the board. We have a red governor. He appoints the board that says yay or nay. Have y'all got a decrease in your electric bill? Same electrical companies get hundreds of millions of dollars from federal aid. Have y'all got a reduction in your electric bill? Everything in your house is energy efficient. Have you seen a reduction of your electric bill? So what happens is, because of corruption, because of evil people, I use this as an example, just number-wise. Let's say Tico Electric costs them $5 to do a megawatt. They sell it to you for 10.
federal government says, you know what, we're gonna create all these programs, we're gonna keep greening and all this kind of stuff, and we're gonna allow you to make this for $2 a kilowatt. But guess what happens? It don't go down for you. It either stays the same or go up. All it does is allow them to, instead of making $5 profit, now they're making $8 profit. And it's never passed on to me and you. But they sell to us to energy efficient. They sell us all this kind of stuff. And it may be energy efficient, but it's not cost efficient. Because all they do is they make up that gas. I think I've seen there's an article this week to come out. TECO, they made $300 million in 2023 to 2024. They made $400 million from 24 to 25. An extra $100 million. Did we see any of that? Did we see a rate increase? So when, to me, is enough enough? That's my message across it. When is enough enough? We're tired. We can't even afford to live. I mean, I'm against property tax for two reasons. Number one, it's hard to live today on one paycheck. It's almost impossible to live in our state today with just one income. So now we have two incomes. So now you have two things that are happening in our state. One, people are getting divorced. Two, women are becoming widows. And I deal with this every day. A widow, her husband and her worked her whole life, they saved money, they got retirement. All of a sudden, the one passes, Social Security's gone. Now she can't afford to pay property tax. So how is it fair when they work for something, pay for something so long, now because you can't pay it, take away from it? That's the number first. The second problem is this, and I use this example. If you have a spoiled, rotten kid, and you give him access to mommy and daddy's credit card, when will he ever quit spending? How many wives or husbands have access to their debit card or credit card, and they ain't gonna quit spending, right? I wouldn't quit spending if I had full access to it. So, only way we're gonna make these county commissioners and city commissioners quit wasting our money is take it away from them. So they cry, oh, if you take away property tax, we can't pay law. They try to threaten you. What do they do? Fear. Well, we can't pay schools, we can't pay law enforcement, we can't pay this, we can't pay that. Well, you know what? You can't even manage the money you got, so we need to take it away from you and figure out where we need to get it from. Because the next thing is, and I'm against Tallahassee having all the say. I believe the state needs to come back to the taxpayer. If we got any big things issuing, obviously we can't trust the 5 county commissioners we got. We need to make it where they got to vote on it, where y'all got to vote to make things happen. If not, we see what happens. They're involved just like everything else is involved. But we got to take money from them. They say, well, if we take money from here, we can't pay for the law enforcement. We have no influence in law enforcement. We can't do education. That's the lie they tell you. Because right now, the city commissioner, county commissioner have no influence at all in sheriff's departments. All thing they do is approve sheriff's budget. Once that sheriff's budget is approved, he can do what he wants with it. And I know for a fact, Grady Judd, we were at an event one day, and he's like, run for governor, run for governor, run for governor. And I looked at him and said, why don't you run for governor? He said, I got the greatest job ever. He said, the governor's got to answer to all these people. I answer to nobody. He said, all they got to do is approve my budget. Once my budget's approved, I'm the boss. And he said, I like it that way. And he does. But the county and city still they have no voice in law enforcement. They really have no voice in the education system, which totally to me needs to be revamped. You use the word, so I'm going to use it again. Our education system sucks. It's horrible. They talk about vouchers, they talk about homeschooling, we want to do money to that. But what about the other 70-80% of kids who can't homeschool, who can't go here, who can't go there, who need a proper education? We got to quit testing these kids. That's all it is testing. A, B, C, or D. The next month, A, B, C, or D. And it's all about testing. They have no life skills. They have no common sense. They have no work ethic. All they do is go to school and get taught how to take a test, how to take a test, how to take a test. Move on to the next one, I'll take a test. Then they go to college. And we wonder why we fight against colleges being so liberal and all this kind of stuff. It's because we lost the foundation of these kids K through 12. We said a prayer tonight. We said a pledge. It's one nation under what? We got to get God back in government. We got to get God back in schools. Because that's where we're losing our kids. That's where we're losing our next generation. They have no foundation. So when they do go to college, they're open for everything. They're a sponge. Because they have no biblical foundation. We got to get God back in schools. We got to get trades back in schools. Everybody says, oh, we have a trade here, we have a trade here. Yeah, one school that has a trade. Not every school. Every school to me, if you go to 9th grade, you should have to learn everything. You should have to take a semester of electrical, semester of plumbing, semester of home ec, all that kind of stuff. Why? So we're talking about affordability, right? Most people don't know what a GFI breaker is. Power ain't working. Yeah. You know what a GFI breaker is? You know how to reset one?
I work for an electrical company, so yeah.
You do know, you're going to raise your hand. So, somebody walks in their house, electric ain't working, they walk around, they might know what a breaker is, they're flipping a breaker, well, I flipped all breakers, still ain't working. Because they don't understand outside or in their laundry or in their kitchen sink, they got a little button they push, GFI. Most people know that. So now you're calling, talking about affordability, right? Call electrician, shows up, $100 drive time, $100. You're just guilty for that. $100 drive time, then a $200 bill. You can't even pay bills as it is. Now you're writing a check for $250 that you can't afford, but you have to because you're more taught that. To me, different life skills that we got to teach every kid should learn. Women, men, whatever. We have women today and men today don't know how to cook. We live in a fast food generation. All they know how to do is run through Burger King or McDonald's. So when a hurricane hits, and they do hit in Florida, everybody's panicking and freaking out because they don't have power. They don't know how to go outside and get the grill out, get the gas grill out. They don't know how to prep, all that kind of stuff. I've done disasters for the last 10 years. Even though we've done it better in Florida, we can do it a lot better. Because a lot of times, these government entities and FEMA, they show up to the main location. They're not hitting and scouring the county. Especially you got a lot of rural areas don't get hit. You know who fills them gaps? Is your faith-based programs. It's people who are doing the right thing. So as I go across Florida, become governor, I want to replace all the boards. The electrical board, the Swift Mud board, the water management boards, FWC boards, all these boards are usually developer-based. They're corruption, all this kind of stuff. I want to replace them all with people who have common sense and love for Florida. Because this stuff needs to change. Because enough's enough. It's about Floridians. It's about us having a voice. It's about don't New York our Florida. You know, we got all these people moving in here because people said, how do you keep them moving down here? We're building houses. They ain't got nowhere to go. They can't stay there. But we got to say no to these developers. They're destroying everything. They have. So we have a red state. We have conservative values. We have all this. And all of us in the state of Florida are going, stop the developers, stop the developers. How many legislations going through right now with developers getting a free rate? Left and right. So we have no godly value or godly character people now. It's so important. It's so important to our state. It's reason why this election is so important. And I don't mean this the wrong way. I know who I am. I know my heart. I've met some of these other guys. I've talked to some of these other guys. I know these other guys. And I don't mean this the wrong way. I'm scared for Florida if I don't win governor. It's my personal opinion. Because I see where this direction is going to go. In 4 to 8 years, what's Florida going to be? It's going to be like everybody. It's going to be destroyed, and we're going to have to spend money and time and effort, and we're going to get frustrated and aggravated. I mean, right now, the huge topic is mental illness, right? How much of that's created through traffic? Be honest with me. How much stress, how much anxiety, how much frustration, how much road rage and anger, crimes are created through what developers do? There's so much to that. And it's about affordability too. Well, the developer can't go down here and buy an acre and put 10 houses on it. He bought the acre for $30,000. Now he's putting 10 homes on it. So now it went from $30,000 to $300,000 because he's selling the lots at $30,000. So now your property tax, your property price increase, your value increases. So now me and you can't afford to go buy nothing. Then you got foreign entities like Blackstone, BlackRock, all these kind of foreign-owned companies. They're coming here buying up neighborhoods, turn them into rental programs. We got to say no to that. Enough's enough. You know, I know I have a lot of questions, but a lot of this just goes back to common sense. You know, godly character, godly ways. When is enough enough? When do we get the right people in for the right thing? And it's from education, it's from every bit of it. It makes sense. So, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for you.
Got an answer for you.
So I've been helping with another campaign, and I actually went to see the current governor yesterday speak and sign a bill that he never mentioned the fact that in that bill it said if you change your name, you can't run for office within 365 days, and they changed that retroactively. The rest of the bill all went through on January 1st of next year, but that one paragraph became effective yesterday. How would you handle that? Would you actually have rejected that bill? Would you have tried to work with people beforehand? What would you have done? I mean, I understand when you signed it.
Yeah.
You couldn't say, oh, we're not gonna care about electric security, but it should never been in there.
Well, so many things. Number one, is every bill needs to be line item. That's it. If it's Bill 399, it shouldn't have, they call it the pig fat back in the day. You can't have all the pig fat in there. It needs to be electrical integrity. So here's my thing with electrical integrity. I think voter fraud should be treason on our country. 20 years minimum.
Okay.
That's the only way you're going to stop it. When you start making these things accountable, it's a huge penalty, they'll stop this. Number two, not only I don't agree with that. I told you earlier, people know this, so my name really is Robert Edward Williams Jr. My whole life, and that's my legal name. But my whole life, because I'm a junior, my name, it's been Bobby. My dad wanted a little girl, and he was gonna name her Bobby Joe. So when I come out, not a little girl, so I'll still get my Bobby, but so my whole life's been Bobby. So what happened when I started running for governor, and God, the conviction of God, this like, why me? Like, well, you also, why not you? But he also says, you're known across the West Coast for the freedom. What you do with hurricanes, what you do with COVID, we worked with over 500 agencies during COVID. And so a lot of people know me, Bobby Williams. So when I'm running Robert Williams, nobody's gonna know me. So literally in October, my office manager filled the paperwork out and all this to legally change my name to Bobby Williams. He just never done it.
Good thing.
So yeah, it's a good thing. God, thank God. So God, thank you for that provision. Thank you for that wisdom and stuff. So I'm against that but it's back to a level playing field. Because these guys can't win, they cheat. It's what's happening.
And the most disgusting part of the whole thing is, I like to say that, all of our legislators voted for this bill. The truth of it is, Kevin Steele, who represents a lot of us in this room, didn't even show up for the vote.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have one job.
Yeah.
How many months a year do they work?
Right.
And
But,
show up.
so everything happens shows who you are. To me, I hate everywhere I go and on my social media, it's always, well, I don't know, but I'm going to vote red. I'm going to vote red. What's that good? What good has that done us? You know what I'm saying? We're red right now, and you got a red room, and they're not making a level playing field. To me, it's got to be a level playing field. Let the best man win for his job.
Well, one of
But,
those
you know what I'm saying? Actually let the voters vote the guy in, not fault him. That's the issue. So to me, it's line item, it's that, it's corruption, all this kind of stuff. It's got to be accountability. It's got to, when's enough enough? Yes, sir.
So as governor, you have the power of the executive order. Do you have any executive orders? I guess it's called executive order with the governor, but do you have any in mind that you want to do day one? Do you think some action needs to be taken?
Number one is, because the sounding voice I hear across Florida is either put a moratorium on everything or stop no rezoning. That's going to fix a lot of our issues and problems. Because if you're to stop rezoning, you're getting developers out of it, you're getting developers' voice out of it, you're getting the waste out of it, you're getting all that kind of stuff out of it. So to me, that would do a lot of stuff. But to me, people ask me about this bill, and I don't mean this the wrong way. If people come to me, I look it up and I see it, but all of it, majority of it's corrupt. At the end of the day, there's a lot of work you got to do. It's fixing a lot of bills and creating bills to think. So to me, the worst thing we can do is get lawyers involved. Because what lawyers do is they word it and make a tricky way, and where it sounds good, it looks good, like SB 180. It's supposed to be for hurricane victims, but they put the last 5-10% in there, a little bit of fine print to change it. So we got to dumb this thing down, to where it shows exactly what it is, exactly what it means, exactly what it stands for, and it's just that one phrase of mine, and that's it. Yes, ma'am.
I agree with you. Our education system sucks. That's my passion. I told you I'm running for school board, but I agree that one of the biggest issues is that it's a top-down thing when it comes to education. What would you do as governor to give more power to the school board members to have more local decision-making?
Well, number one, we got to get unions out of everything. Unions destroy it. Unions have a voice. Why are unions taking any of our money, manipulating our money? Because we're giving money to schools, for teachers, that kind of stuff, and we're not seeing the increases that we need in there. So yeah, number one. But number two is about accountability. we need to give power to the superintendent, to the schools, but then, what are you doing? You know, there's gotta be some accountability to where they can be hired or fired and different things. But I think a lot of school boards are being, you know, a lot of times, so we gotta fix the political system, we gotta fix the voting system. But a lot of these superintendents are being hired in, and they're hired in by corruption instead of being voted in by the people. So I like to see a lot of that.
Well, our superintendent in Pasco County is voted in, and
Your
it
car
hasn't,
is not.
it hasn't changed anything.
Well, back to corruption though, the voter system's corrupt and all that stuff's corrupt kind of stuff. But it's got back to accountability.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The same way as a governor, I can unseat a mayor, unseat them. We start unseating these people, you know, and value, and we gotta make it to where teachers have the opportunity to teach.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where you can love kids, because every kid's different. If you're a mom, if you got 3 different kids, you don't raise all 3 kids the same. One might be an angel, one might be a heathen, and one might be in between. You know what I'm saying? But you treat each one differently. But today's system, they're all taught with the same test, same way, push the same structure.
Yeah, but like, I think one of the main issues is like a bunch of lobbyists are in Tallahassee.
Well, 100%.
They're really the ones that make the decisions of what.
So to me, I want to get all lobbyists out of Tallahassee. Lobbyists should not have no voice in Tallahassee. The only voice should be there is us the voters. If the state representative, whether he's a congressman, whatever he is, if he needs something first, he needs to be going out to his committee, or out his town, out in his area, zone, and figure out what's the need, not a lobbyist coming here. Perfect example is DeSantis last year in his budget, he gave a corporation called CORE, Sean Penn's company, RUSA. He gave them $23 million for disaster relief. They show up when the cameras are there for 5 days, the cameras are gone, they're gone. $23 million. You know what I can do with $23 million as a disaster relief? We moved, last year I think it was 20-something million, $25 million in product. We did on like $750,000 budget. So we take a little and turn it a lot. They take a lot and turn it a little. So there's so much money wasted fraud in Tallahassee and stuff that could do that. But it's money going to the right place. I want to get lobbyists out of all this, you know what I'm saying? Get it to where, you know, we have people who can have influence in there. You know, my wife's a school teacher for 25 years. So she quit 10 years ago because frustrated. She went back about a couple months ago. And she comes home and looks me in the face and goes, what are you going to do as governor for our kids? You know? But, so I understand. I see the problem. And I work with schools every day. So during COVID, we created a program with liaisons. We started with 1 in our county. Now we got 6. So the liaison goes to the principal. What's your needs? What's your problems? What's your issues? Like last year, we gave 3.5 million pounds of product to the schools. So they come back and go, hey, we need folders, we need this kind of stuff. We created this year, we started with the school system, was a reward system. So every month, for perfect attendance, a kid gets some kind of party. So I pay out of Freedom Bowl, I do a pizza party, an ice cream, we'll bring characters in there, snow cones, every month's different. But they went from 42% to now 96%. And just going there and reward program. So there's great things we can do and just model concepts. Yes, ma'am.
Add civics to your list of required classes, please. Also, why there is the Everglades Alcatraz was because when Wilkie Simpson was senator, he passed a bill the 11th hour to allow GEO to build 2 big jails. And then the last minute added a paragraph that said he can also take over, GEO can take over defaulted jails, and several sheriffs turned their jails over to counties shortly thereafter. So they were given the money to be able to build Alcatraz. I didn't know if you were aware of that. The local government is now looking at ways to avoid this tax problem. They're going to turn all those departments into NSTUs. The sheriff's office told us that at the meeting the other night. So they're going to get around this no tax by creating NSTUs for all of them. And then I had, we talked about the fraud, but you've got Angolia going around the state doing this little auditing, Doge, whatever, saying there's all these millions or millions of dollars that are missing and what have you. Where's the enforcement power and what is being done?
That-
We will not do Pasco because those are the good old boys that put him in there.
So, a couple things. So number 1, I confronted him at Mar-a-Lago. I walked up to him, just nice. I said, hey, you know, Bobby Wicks, I know who you are. I'm like, okay, that was pretty neat. You know, I am. But then I'm like, it's great that you're coaching, but where's accountability?
None.
when are we gonna see that? And my question to him was, is there enough wage to cover property taxes? The answer was yes. And he said they're gonna do something about it, but we'll see. But that's the thing is, it's all political games. So to me, it's back to, yes, great to Doge, but if nothing ever happens, then why are we doing it?
What will you do?
I make them accountable. That's the reason why I want to pull property tax away from them. That's the only way you can make them. If they don't have the money, they can't spend it. You know what I'm saying? So if they don't have money, you can't spend it. So as a governor, you can't do everything. It's like Trump wishes he could do everything. You wish you can't. You're only limited to so much. That's the reason a lot of these politicians say, when I become governor, they can't even do 50% of that stuff. You know, but what can we do? But it's obviously that is something we do. We give property tax out, it don't give them the money, so then they can't spend it. But the same way with, you know, whether it's government housing and all, there's so much fraud in that. There's so much waste, so much corruption. You know, make a percentage of it. You know, we had that conversation earlier, but we gotta quit just handing money out. So what I was gonna say to that is any kind of government grant as a governor, I want to make sure that it's got to be a state entity that's covering it. So we'll just say hurricane disaster relief, 23 million, Sean, he's out of state, he doesn't live here. Why are we giving money, state taxpayers money to people that are out of state and corporations? Keep it in Florida. Go find businesses, the local ministries who are out there and providing, give them the opportunity. They're already doing it for free most time anyhow. So if you give them that resource, they'll do more and better than what we do is waste and fraud. But it's keeping everything in Florida. Yes, ma'am.
I want to put you on the spot for a second. I'm not
Can't
gonna
put me on the spot. Go
apologize.
ahead.
Do you know how many solar farms were built last year?
Do I know how many? No, ma'am.
15.
Yeah.
Too many.
It's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad.
So, but it's back to, they destroy everything. And what happens is, me and you know, how long do solar panels last? Maybe 7, 10 years? Then they're going to make more of our money go into it, and we don't see. Now, I wouldn't agree with it, but if you put solar fields in, and my electric bill went down 3/4, we can rethink it, right? It's kind of a perfect example. I'm against AI data centers. So why is AI data center come in here and they get millions and millions tax breaks?
Here's my part of why.
To me, I'm against them, but even if they did come in here, I would tell them, you're going to hold the whole tax for the whole county, or the whole city. You're going to take a huge tax. You're going to pay all this, you know what I'm saying? To where, huh? No, I won't. But I'm just saying, like solar fields are already in here. I'm taking all tax breaks away from that. Taking all that stuff away and making them pay, because they're already here, you know what I'm saying? You can't, but you're not getting a tax break no more. Because why? Why should I make you rich?
Well, I looked up 2 of them. They're located in floodplains.
Yeah.
And
How
then
are
we
you
don't
gonna
even own
operate?
power. The one in Dade City, they shipped it to Georgia.
Right.
We don't even get the power.
No. But it's fraud. It's just corruption. Yes, ma'am.
I have a couple things. Well, I like what you have to say, and I like what you stand for. So one question is, did God give you a plan B? And the next question is, what about these HOAs? Like, they're everywhere in Florida. How do you buy a house without, like?
Number, answer first. To God, there's only a plan A. There's
Okay.
never a B or a C.
Okay.
So my plan A is primary. So once I win primary, I know where I'm going. Well, obviously my goal, if we win primary, I'll figure 8 years, okay? Really, no, I'm sorry, 6 years. Then in 6 years, we'll maybe run for president.
There you go.
So,
Woo!
if for some reason that don't go, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, Freedom Tour, keep doing what I'm doing. So God's always good, you know. So I'm getting doors open everywhere I go. I'm meeting new people. I mean, you know, it's not about a man, but it's about God putting you in places. So you're talking about a full board from Polk County who has running a governor race nobody really know of, whatever, growing traction now. I was in Mar-a-Lago on Friday night. Trump spoke. 30 minutes after him, I get on the stage and speak out to him. I think that's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying?
That was pretty cool.
So I'm walking up, so I walk in to Mar-a-Lago, Blaze and Gully is there. I'm shaking, hey, I know who you are, I see your videos. I walk in the next room, Jay Collins is walking up, and his wife trips and falls. And actually, I catch her. We used to get caught in the same room. Catch her, help her back up, that kind of stuff. Hey, Bob, I know who you are.
Good.
I mean, it's been, so I'm gaining traction. I walk up to Evan Powers in Walton County. I'm like, hey, how you doing, Evan? I never met him before, first time I met him. He said, yeah, me and Byron Donald was just talking about you. So my name's in their mouth, and so it's pretty cool what God can do.
Yeah.
So if he's doing that at that level, how much level, you know, we don't know what door he's going to. So I don't know how it's going to work. My job is to be obedient.
Right.
That's all my job is. The reason why I'm standing here today is just obedience. So what was your second question again?
These HOAs, like, can
Yeah,
you just get
so-
rid of them? So like,
Well, you can't totally get rid of them, and the reason why you can't get rid of them is because, I mean, you can, but there's gotta be some fund, somebody's gotta manage the fund, because a lot of these communities have gated communities, they got sprinklers outside, they got trees. So there's gotta be, I think you need to simple it down to where HOA is only created for expenses, and them expenses can only be the electrical, the gate, maintenance, that kind of stuff. But what's happened is developers own these HOAs. They're the ones buying them up. When they create them, they're creating, like I just had one go next to me and one across the street from me, Lennar Homes. And when they built the house, when they built the neighborhood, they put PVC fence all the way down, which I was good with, because I don't want to look at the neighbors. Well, the neighbors, homeowner, decided to take the fence down. Wasn't even owned by them. It was in a section that was owned by the homeowners. When I look at the homeowners association, it's actually, I live in Winter Haven. It's actually a Winter Park, Orlando owned, developer owned homeowners association. So the developers now have got to create a system to where it's a maintenance fee, money, and that's the reason why you're seeing all these taxes. It's more greed, more money. So to me, I don't think you get rid of all of them, but you got to get to where it's just simply just paying what is it paying. Now, if you didn't have gates and things outside, you could get rid of it. Yes, sir.
You started a business at age 25, what was it?
Electrical communications, so I do low voltage. So we do like fiber optics, Cat5 cables, radios, cameras, that kind of stuff. So just tell you my character and what I've done. So by the time I was 30, 32, my business was making almost 7 figures. Now last year, I made about less than $300,000 because money wasn't for it. I spent my last 10 years with Freedom Tour and going out, took a pay cut, took all that kind of stuff to go change people's lives and make a difference. So when people talk about money and that, I'm like, not good. Yes, ma'am.
Since I'm the book, I'm always about the food and growing and all the more natural things, because we're getting poison every day of the week.
100%.
I've come to learn that they're now creating a fake soil bacteria that it's a rabbit hole there, you go down that, brace yourself.
Yeah.
Because it gets ugly.
That's the reason why we need the blood of Jesus for one, yeah. That's the reason why it says pray over your food.
GMO soil bacteria. We have enough issues with all the pollutants that we're throwing in and pulling off our good soil bacteria. Eradicating the forestry that they're doing after the home building, that's our only other source.
Right.
To then seed our homes
100%.
to try to get the good, healthy soil.
Yeah.
How are we going to stem that tide? So many of these small farmers are going out of business because they can't make it work.
Right.
They're not scrutinizing the big farmers
Right.
to the level that they're scrutinizing
Yeah.
the smaller local farmers.
So my answer to that question is, my job as governor is, I want to help the small farmers, but help the big farmers. So that's what you see happen. So what I want to do is, perfect example, DeSantis in his budget, he gave $180 million to the citrus industry. To me, citrus industry is gone. You know, we got to replace that money in the cattle and ranches and different agriculture guys, but create a system that's helping the small farmers. Because that's what's happening is, it's by design, we want the small farmers out. Because the problem with our nation in Florida is called monopolization. So what they're doing is, right now, you got 4 beef packers in our nation. 3 of them foreign owned.
Yes.
There's a problem. So I want to get to where we're quit rezoning, which then, that way, if it's Ag 5, Ag 10, Ag, it stays that way. Then we help the small mom and pops, whatever that is, help them with cattle, help them with the grow their farms and that kind of stuff. But I even like to look at creating co-ops or whatever in our state to where we can create our own meat packing plant. To where, you know what I'm saying, they have a place to go. Because the problem ain't the rancher, or sometimes even the packer, it's the middleman. Perfect example, people don't know this, but I'm pretty sure it all happened down, this is what I was told. But you know, Trump asked Argentina for 700 million in beef, right? Supposedly I was told that deal went through. Did me and you see that in the market?
No.
You want me to tell you why? It's back to the Tico deal. 5 and 10, 2, 10. So what happens is they got beef prices, they bought beef prices for nothing, they still sold it for the same amount. Guess who made all the money?
Yeah.
The corrupt people in the middle.
And the follow-up to that is the mRNA injections. We as humans have the option to say no to that. The animals are not having a choice.
Right.
So we are consuming it. That's been, mRNA vaccine has been in the beef products since about 2013, I think.
See what you do when you Unfortunately, it's all by design, you know. But we gotta get correct labeling. We gotta get USDA corruption out of it to where it's proper. We gotta get stuff back to organic. You know what I'm saying? Because what's happening, even say we get some of that stuff out, and we allow these developers to do what they're doing. So right now, they're taking our wastewater. They're saying they're treating it, and they're pumping it right back in our water, in our rivers. But then also, they're now wanting to go down 8,000 feet and put it in our lower aquifer, which then works up. And if we know anything about filterization, it works down, you know, but when's enough? So now you're sprinkling water in your plants and gardens with pesticide and, you know, corrupt water. So it's, with the corruption we have, the rate we have, everything's going on, you know, we have to stop it. Yes, sir.
That's a misstatement, sir.
Which part?
They've been keep well injecting since the 40s in Florida.
Okay.
And most of the treated water coming out of the plants, I work in wastewater sewer,
Yes, sir.
is 80 to 90% cleaner than what you turn your tap on. I've seen the reports.
Right.
So, talking about deep water injection, that's been forever. If Florida didn't deep water inject, your sinkholes would be 60 to 80 times greater in the state.
So that's one problem is with enough, because we don't have the water. So why we don't let developers keep putting houses in when we don't have the water and it keeps creating sinkholes and that kind of stuff?
That's true.
Yes.
All right, 1 or 2 more questions, and then we'll wrap it up.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You're good, Jim. You're good.
Do the last one. Do the last one. Hey, last first.
It's a privilege. So I want to say the gentleman back there is correct. A lot of the things that we get worried about and have buzzwords, GMOs, and all that kind of stuff. We pull water out of the ground here. That's just the nature for it, so
Right.
it's flat. The aquifer drops because we're pulling water.
Right.
We treat water, you know, first of all, you know, the gear proof and everything, it's all different very, but by injecting it down, they push the aquifer so we won't have to pull it up from the wells, we won't get the salt water coming in from the side. So there are reasons, they're not evil people. It's not Mr. Burns doing all this stuff.
So,
And so don't get worried just because it uses electricity or something.
well, my biggest thing is, so my problem with anything the government tells you is we can't trust anymore. So you can't even trust science today. You pay a scientist enough, he's going to tell you what you want to hear. So that's, to me, it's about fruit. So they say we're not contaminating our waters, but our fisheries are dying. They're saying they're not doing this, but our weed kills are left and right. All this stuff's happening. So the fruit, to me, is we're contaminating our water. You know, I don't care what anybody wants to tell me on paper or say, it's the fruit of what's going on in our nation. And that's the reason why it's all, at the end of the day, it's about fruit. It's what's happening, what's going on, what is it producing. And that tells all, right? It's like a drug addict telling you he's not on drugs. You see the fruit of it. You see what he looks like. You see the life he lives, all that kind of stuff, right? You know, it's the fruit. So you can tell me what you want. He can probably draw it on paper all the time, but what's the fruit? So at the end of the day, whether it's a politician, whether it's a life, a job, whether it's our government, we got to look, what is the fruit of what they're doing? So thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Just want to thank Bobby again for coming and speaking with us. It's always great for the members here and guests to be able to engage and ask questions and learn more about the candidates.
Signs, shirts, hats, all free, so feel free to take all you want to, I'll be around saying.
Awesome, yeah, check out Bobby's table, he's got a bunch of stuff over there for everybody, so yeah, definitely check that out. In closing, we did have a 50-50 raffle, so